right. This is DaShawn Jordan, and you're watching On That Note with Shawn Stockman.
What's up, y'all? What's good? This is Shawn Stockman, and you're tuned into another episode of On That Note. And as you know, if you don't know, this is the place where we speak a language we all understand, and that is music. Now, my next guest, I will admit, it's my first time meeting him, and I like him already. We've had a little off-camera conversations, and he's a real grounded, down-to-earth young man, and I love that. So we're gonna have a nice conversation, you guys. So, but let me introduce him properly. This man has, well, first of all, he's ranked one of the top-ranked skateboarders in the entire planet Earth. All right, so we don't have no slouch sitting in this chair. Like he's a real one, okay? He's competed in the largest competitions around the world. He's also quite skilled behind a microphone and the stage too, that I learned. And we're gonna talk about that too. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He's been releasing music since 2022. Mm-hmm. And please correct me if I'm wrong with any of these stats. This year he came out with his first full-length album.
Yes, sir.
Called Bridges.
Yes, sir.
Right?
The Bridge,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, The Bridge. And he's worked with artists like Dolla and other great artists as well. He's a skateboard icon. He's a fashion icon as well. He's got a nice sense of, taste in clothing and all that. He's a businessman, an artist, not a rapper. Because he doesn't want to be called a rapper. He wants to be called an artist. See, I looked that up. He's like, don't call him that. He's like, he wants to be an artist because he does not want to be called that. But we can call you a singer though, right? Can we say that at least?
Yeah, you can say singer, yeah.
Okay,
singer,
cool.
Yeah.
So he's a singer, he's an artist, he's an X Games gold medalist and future Olympian.
Appreciate
I'm gonna put that in the universe.
Yeah.
You will be hoisting up that gold. You know what I'm
sir.
saying? So, ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for, if I hope I get this right, for Geek.
Geek?
Did your mom call you that? What did your mom call you?
No, my mom and they call me like stuff like D or like, I don't know, like big head. I don't know, random stuff.
Okay, because
Yeah.
I saw an interview where you said that your parents or your mom used to call you Geek. It was like an ESPN interview.
Oh, they used to call me white boy.
Okay.
Because I talk so proper and all my family and all that stuff. But yeah,
well, give it up for the blackest white boy I've ever seen. Yeah. Give it up for DaShawn Jordan.
Thank you. Wait, where did Geek come from? He said it out of his mouth?
Yes.
I did? What's it?
Yes.
He was smoking too much weed, bro.
It was like this.
Smoke.
It was this ESPN interview, and they would like spitfiring like questions to you. Like, for example, they asked you if you just finished the bathroom and you ran out of toilet paper, would you change the toilet roll or would you just leave it at? You understand? You remember that?
It was rapid fire.
Yes, it was rapid fire. Right. And he gave a very interesting question, but you can see that later. Right now, it's about On That Note. But anyway, how you feeling, man?
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling blessed. I woke up this morning and I'm happy to be here. So
praise God.
Yeah,
man. Well, thank you for being on. I really appreciate it. And I got a chance to really take a deep dive, not just into your prowess, but the culture of skateboarding. And we're going to get into that because there's a lot of things that I learned in learning things about you, about skateboarding, about the culture, about some of the players. Like I even have a few favorites just within the small amount of time that I've kind of just delved into the whole art. So we're going to get into all of that and find out if some of these guys are your friends, or are they your friendly rivals or anything like that, or both. You know what I'm saying? So, but again, thank you for coming on. I always like to start the show off with a little segment I call, we're going to go back, way back in the time.
Yeah.
All right. So I know you're about 28, right? 28 years old. So you were born about 2007, something like that?
No, 1997.
Not 97, excuse me. 97,
97,
excuse me. So in about 2007, about 10 years old. Let me see.
Sounds crazy.
Yeah, I know that is wild, right? It makes me sound so fucking old. But
I'm
yeah,
like, geez,
yeah,
man.
it's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane. But okay, 10 years old. Back in AZ, right? Chandler. Wake up in the morning. I want to hear the sights, the smells, but most importantly, I want to hear the sounds. Now, I want all you people that are watching this, I always tell the audience to close their eyes because DaShawn is going to take us through a journey of his childhood. At 10 years old, he's going to tell us what was the music that you heard as a child that inspired you, that helped inspire you to become not just the greatest skateboarder in the world, but an artist and into music. Who inspired you?
I would say my inspirations came from and sorry to go back. I want to say I was in Tucson still this time, Tucson, Arizona, before I went to Phoenix. And my inspirations, I played, youth football and stuff like that, but I was in a dance group for a couple of years, called Human Project in Tucson, Arizona.
Okay.
And obviously hearing music through the group, stuff we had choreo too, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. But also like my uncles and everybody, they always played oldies.
Okay.
So like I grew up just listening to like a lot of, old school Boys to Men, like my favorite song was It's So Hard to Say Goodbye.
That's what's up.
Yeah, that's one of the classics.
It's crazy I'm considered old school now. It's insane.
And then, New Edition, Every Little Step, like that's one of my favorite songs, you know what I mean?
Yes,
Mr. Telephone Man, all those things, Michael Jackson, all those songs is kind of what I really enjoyed. One, because like I feel like that was like the culture, where I grew up in, and the dancing to artistry. Also, when I was younger, like I was in church, heavy, and even the choir with church. But I feel like that was a time where I wasn't in it because I was like super interested in it. I was in it because my mom, always done a good job or a great job with like making sure I was like being active and things, that was in my environment.
Right.
And so, from church choirs to dance groups and all that. I feel like that was kind of the inspiration that played a big part in like my interest in music. And then skateboarding was really, when I moved into the townhouse that I lived in Tucson, I had seen somebody riding a skateboard kind of in the alleyway because I lived in a community where all the houses were on your right and your left. Yeah. But there was one street that like ran all the way through the complex. And the backyards were what was facing, street side.
Right.
And when we first moved in, we're unloading the U-Haul. I see a person on a skateboard, immediately intrigued by it because I'm an adrenaline junkie.
Right.
And the first thing I wanted to do was like try a skateboard. So, I asked him to ride a skateboard. He let me try his board.
Wow.
And surprisingly, I had balance when I got on the board.
Yeah.
Like I was already just trying to learn tricks. I was like, yo, how do you do this? How do you do that?
So what age was this?
I want to say that was I was in elementary school, probably like fourth grade, probably like.
Okay.
I want to say, man, probably like
3 years ago, Shawn.
Right, basically.
Probably like 8ish, 9ish. I want to say if I have my numbers right, And I lived right across the street from the elementary school I went to.
Okay.
My group of friends I hung out with, we were all playing sports, but also all roller skating. We're going to skate country every weekend, all nighters and all that. But one of the friends in the friend group also started to bring a skateboard around. And then I got intrigued by it again, fell in love with it even more. And like every time we would all link up, I just couldn't get off the skateboard. We'd be at the hoops or I'd be at the courts and I'll be riding the board back and forth on the court, while they were playing basketball. And we had made the plan to move from Tucson to Phoenix. I had a board. It was a blind skateboards. And I didn't know too much about skateboards or conditions of it. I just knew it was a board. And I had the intentions of giving it back to him. Like I really did.
You did?
Yeah, I did.
You sure?
Yeah, I did. But the way, the way the clock was set up and the way the time, and the plans, I didn't make it to give him the board. So I just took the board with me to Phoenix. And I wish I still had contact with him because I would I would show so much love because that board was the first board I had moving to Phoenix. You got to give him a free board if you ever need it. I would reimburse him on the board for sure.
Shout out to the young man who got their board boosted.
Yeah.
By DaShawn. Make sure you reach out to him with his DMs. You know what I'm saying? Let him know it's his board.
Skate shop to get reimbursed.
Right.
So I brought the board to Phoenix, and this is where the story gets funny because this is like, everything happens for a reason. So we move into this apartment building in Chandler, and the apartment complex was like, and we're in the office. They're like, give us the rundown of the place. It's just one kid in the apartment. It's like, stay away from him. His name's Curtis. He's all, just stay away from Curtis. So I was like, whatever, blah blah. I get on my skateboard. I'm riding around the complex, just like learning the area. I see a person on a skateboard, and what do? I go up to him because he has a skateboard too, and I asked him his name, and it was Curtis. So I ran into him, and like, sure enough, like, that became one of my good friends, and he was actually the first person, like him and his mom, which I also give, a lot of love to, is like, they were the first people to take me to like my first real skate park.
Nice.
So then I learned what a skate park was, and, we would always go together and everything. And then learned more about skating, saw more of skating, got inspired, and fell even deeper in love with skating. And then, you couldn't keep me from the skate park, And then, that was the other part I missed. When I moved there, the wheel was actually falling off the board. And I didn't know how to fix it.
The board you stole.
Yeah, the board I stole, And so you see how that worked? You see how that worked?
Your board is trash, bro.
Yeah, you see how that worked? And then I went to AutoZone and they fixed it for me because all I knew, I was like, AutoZone fix stuff, so I'm going to go across the street and they going to fix the board.
They don't just fix cars, ladies and gentlemen.
And they put a little lock nut on the axle and they kept my wheel on, and that was my board for a minute,
Do you still have this board?
No, I wish I did. I did. Yeah.
That's a relic right
That's
there.
one thing I wish I kept that board.
Wow.
I know there's footage of me on that board though at my local skate park.
Okay.
So I at least have that memory of it, but I wish I kept that board.
Yeah, no, that's a memory that we wish we had, because that would have been the first thing that I would have asked you. Take a picture of the board.
Yeah.
But okay, so your love affair, it sprung, it grew.
Mm-hmm.
For you to be as good of a skater as you are, what is the commitment as far as the practice time? Like, how long did you practice before? I mean, before you really developed a skill set that you were really, really good at this, the tricks and all those other things. Like, on average, how many hours a day?
Man, I would say it's a little less now. I'm trying to get back to that, but I would say around that time, I was at the skate park I got off junior high school around like 4, went home, probably dropped off, book bags, everything, skated to the park, which was like a 2-mile skate if I didn't have a ride. And I was probably there from like 5 or like 4 or something to like 10:30 at night, like every day.
Every day.
Like I would go there right after school. I would be there till the lights turned off.
Wow.
Because the lights at the skate park I grew up skating, Chandler Skate Park, the lights were off at 10:30 every night. So, and I would be there the whole day. Like,
damn. I mean, it shows.
Appreciate that.
Because like I said, I went and took a deep dive. I watched as many videos as I could on you and the competitions and the things that you've done, and also some of the spills. Now that's another thing too. It's a very dangerous sport to get into. Any major injuries when you were young, or even now as a professional? Have you had anything that might have sidelined you, or like what major injuries, if any, have you had?
It's a blessing I haven't had any crazy major ones. I think there's wood under this fabric.
Yeah,
but
praise God. Thank you. Keep it that way.
I've definitely had like a lot of ankle rolls, which I've, put a pause on my skating. I had one like little knee thing that like scared me, but I think it was like just like a spraying in my MCL, nothing crazy. But for the most part, I've been blessed to have great injury prevention, and I think that comes from also to the muscle, like because skaters aren't like really like known for being kind of more built, and I feel like just because my build and stuff, even from like other sports and just in general, that's obviously played a huge part of my skating because a lot of that protects like the major things like my legs, are strong. They protect my knees, and also a trainer I've been with for some time now, Jessica Alexander. I've been training with her for some time, and just working on all those things and trying to keep those things strong, and so that I don't have any major injuries. And some things are like unpredictable, but for the most part, I would say that like has definitely played a significant role in like injury prevention, recovery, and all that. So yeah, I've been blessed to make it this far and want to continue and continue a healthy career. Blessed in that way.
Is there a type of conditioning that you have to do being a skater opposed to maybe being a baseball player or a football player? I'm not gonna lie, I've seen baseball players train, for example, and you would swear they're like going into like some sort of battle. Like their training is so intense to play baseball that obviously it was designed for the conditioning of a baseball player, which I found fascinating. It's the same thing with boxing, the same thing with basketball, the same thing with it's all different types of approaches to be in that level of shape or type of shape when they say football shape or basketball shape or baseball shape. what does a person have to do to be in skateboard shape? What type of conditioning? Is there any difference? Like, do you focus on certain body parts? Like, what's the regimen?
I would say definitely. It depends. Like, I feel like everybody's structure and program build is different. Like, for example, with me, like, she will, make a whole program, and one day might be core, and upper, and then the other week might be like lower, And I feel like in skateboarding, it's almost the same thing where you're training like like heavy because the most important things are our legs,
right?
And the core obviously acts on the legs, and so if we have good core support,
sure,
it plays a huge part in everything else. And so I would say I definitely train heavier on like posture, landing mechanics, using the right parts of my body for like falls and bails and stuff like that to protect the other important parts on my body, to stay strong, because that's like, we're jumping off 8, 9, 10, 11,
Insane,
12, 13
bro.
stairs and rails, and to have to have strong ankles, strong knees, strong quads, back, core is so important, because that's where we send everything when we're falling, if we have the strength there. If not, then you're compensating, through your knees and stuff, which isn't, fair or safe. So we focus heavy on like legs and core and
you have
stuff.
to learn how to fall, right?
Yes, which is crazy.
That's part of it.
100%. Yeah, that not, I've seen a lot of people fall and skate that like don't know how to fall, and the consequences are, much worse. But yeah, like
we've all seen ridiculousness.
Yeah, facts.
DaShawn, so what does it take to learn how to fall? For like somebody at home who's skateboarding and they're learning, I'm learning tomorrow, and I want to jump off 4 stairs. And I'm gonna fall every time. So how am I learning how to fall? What does that mean?
So I would say, really, I feel like the greatest, and I'm not like, you can never be too prepared for anything in life. Like, I can sit here and say I'm great at falling, but I've definitely had some falls in my career where it's like I couldn't do nothing about it. Like I like, it happened, and like I may have tried to save myself, but the math wasn't math, and like the timing wasn't right, and which is very common in skateboarding, because it's like in reality it's gravity. Anything else, like say for example, like a football, basketball, it's 10 toes on the turf or 10 toes on the court. Like you're not really falling. You're not gonna fall through the floor. Like you're not falling anything below what is surface. For us it's like I go to a 10 stair. And in my mind, I'm confident because I feel like I have great muscle memory on how to flip this board, but it might have other plans once I pop. And sometimes I might not be able to kick it away like I normally do. It might be a flare, or it might be a little windy. So it really, sometimes if you have a trick you're used to doing or a certain obstacle you skate, you kind of learn how to like make it less stress on your body, like falling, rolling out.
Like where the air would happen, basically. You kind of know where the air is going to happen if one happens.
Kind of like you kind of know
where
when you
wrong.
pop.
You know where it's going to go wrong, essentially.
100%. And then it's like trials and tribulations through every try. You're like, okay, this board didn't meet at my feet because my timing of my popping was off. Let me go a little slower. Jeez. I shouldn't scoop it fast. Like I should slow the flip down.
Hell no.
It's like math problems in real time.
Man, I can't do any of it. Man, I would break every bone in my body. I'm 52 years old. I'm not doing any of that, bro. One fall and it's a wrap, like for the rest of my life.
DJ, how many stairs have you done? What's the most stairs you've done?
The most I've done is like 16.
Holy, I can't even walk down 16 stairs. I'm getting tired.
16 is the most.
Up or down?
Down.
Yeah.
How many up?
10 up.
Yeah, 10 or 11 up, yeah.
How fast do you got to be going to go up the stairs?
Right.
That one, it depends, because it depends on how the rail is, because if it's a mellower like rail up more stairs, I'm gonna have to go a little faster. But if it's a steeper rail, that gets tricky because you don't want to go too fast because you won't catch the vertical of the rail. You would kind of just like hit the rail and go flat. So it's you can go fast, but it's all in like how you position your body to take the momentum that you have to go up, up the rail. But I swear skateboarding is like real life, like is math equations. Like
algebra every day.
Yeah. You try a trick for 50 tries, 100 tries. Every try you're learning something new about how to get closer to
Did you ever
trick.
skateboard, Shawn?
I did.
You did?
I won't lie. Like I used to have like this little red skateboard when I was like 9 or 10.
Yeah, I love
But
it.
that was a long time ago.
Maybe you could do a trick, or you were just kind of moving around.
I
on
mean,
it?
I would do like, I don't know what you call them, but like when you jump off a curve and you would kind of, do a little trick with the
Yeah,
would
like
that be,
shove it,
DJ?
ollie.
Yeah,
like-
you would flip it a little bit. I did that, but that was it. Like I wasn't doing like the tricks that you guys would. It was very, very basic urban. Me and my friends,
Yeah.
let's go down a really steep hill, and try not to break our necks. And some of us did, but we got back up and did it again.
What
So,
extreme sport do you think you could survive in?
that I could survive in now?
Just, I think, in your life. Like, if there was an extreme sport that you, snowboarding and motocross, all these extreme sports.
I learned. How about this? I learned how to ski in a day.
Wow.
Like I learned how to ski. Like, because it's really just making sure you don't go down as fast as you shouldn't, or else you'll run into a tree, whatever. So it's one of those things where the first thing my instructor taught me is how to brake. Just put your knees together and kind of just control the speed. Once you do that, then you can control how fast or slow you go.
Facts.
So when I figured that out, I was in a medium-sized hill first day, like and it was almost like natural, because I guess my legs are strong enough at least to handle skiing.
But let me ask you this, and this is how I'll know why you got on. Did you rollerblade when you were younger, or roller skate?
I never rollerblade, and that's the
skate.
funny part. Like, because I was going to ask you, do you do like other sports? Because rollerblading for me, like
or roller skating, even roller skating.
yeah, well, roller skate, I sucked at it.
Oh, okay.
I sucked at it. Like, it was just something like my feet just could not.
You have weak ankles?
I don't know what.
But roller skating and rollerblading, you have to have strong ankles. Ice skating,
like
you have to have strong
I
ankles.
suck at it. Like, my wife knows how to ice skate and all that, and she took me ice skating one time, and I fell so many times, man.
Oh, we got to do that this
was,
winter.
It was no joke. So I just, there's certain things I know I can't do. Like, what's funny is that I knew that if I had a different type of build, I'd be a good baseball, football player, because I got good hands. Like, somebody throw something, I can catch like anything. I just didn't have the body to facilitate anything else, because outside of being able to catch, you got to have a strong, casing, you know what I mean, to take the hits and all the other stuff. And that's just something I didn't want to get into, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I knew my niche, and it wasn't any of those things. But outside of skating, because I've noticed that a lot of skaters do other things. They ride bikes, they snowboard, they do other. Are there any other sports like that you do?
I snowboard. Was like obviously in dance groups. Roller skate. Bike.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say like those are kind of like all the things that like I was. I'm active in outside of skating, that I feel like a lot of those things have carried over and even helped me in skating with like balance and, my style of skating in general. And even just like, my stability with my core and everything is, I kind of came from a background of just like playing sports and stuff like that, to where like, that has played a significant part in like everything.
I've watched you in competitions in conjunction with the other competitors that's in the in the competition. And I must say, like, and I'm not just saying this because you're here, but you and a gentleman by the name of Nigel Houston.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Like, one of the smoothest, like, you have a swag about you.
Yes.
Like, you're not just, kicking and then jumping and that whole thing. There's a smoothness about how you go about your tricks. Like, you make it look effortless. Like,
I like
to
how
the
you sing, Sean.
It's a
swag to it, a
thank you.
smoothness to it.
But thank
like
you. But I think that's what makes him great.
Yeah.
It's not just the tricks that you do, which obviously are very difficult to do, but it's how you do them. Like, it's such a fluidity.
Thank you.
With how you go about, just even when, you finish a trick, you hop back on the ramp, you hold the board for a minute, and you kind of go down. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that all of that is part of the showmanship. Because at the end of the day, you're an athlete, but you're an entertainer like me. Like, there's a level of entertainment that has to go behind what it is you do, which makes people draw themselves to you. Now, with all of the accomplishments that you've done thus far with skating, are there any that you look forward to doing, like any goals in mind that you want to accomplish in skateboarding?
I would say, man, for sure it would be like having the blessing, to go to Olympics, try that, like medal there. Or there's another one that's important to me is like in skating, it's called Skater of the Year. That's like, when you get an award for like being like, the skater of the year through a very like important staple in skateboarding, from Thrasher magazine, which is like, like that's even more so over a medal. Skater of the Year is like, you know what I mean? That's like the core of skating, the street skating, which is like highly respected. You get one of those, that's always been a goal of mine.
Yeah.
That I've always wanted to work towards, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know, I would say, man, probably, I don't know. It's like, I feel like right now, like those are like two like big ones on my list right now that I want to accomplish.
You already won a gold medal for the X Games.
Yes, that was a blessing.
2021, which is amazing. I saw
you.
that, and that was incredible. Cool. Yeah, super super dope, and you killed that too.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
And yeah, it's just so many facets to the culture, and specifically, a lot of people may not know because they always seem to typecast certain, I guess, occupations, certain sports and things of that nature. And a lot of people don't understand there's a lot of black skaters that not only do this, but do this for real. Like, give us a little touch of the culture for all of those black folks that may not know much about the culture of skating, but let them realize that there are a lot of us that do it professionally and do it quite well. Like, give us some names of some people.
So, like even, I'll kind of fast forward a bit, from before me, you had like the greats, which is like, the Ray Barbies, the Sean Sheffys, Stevie,
you probably know Stevie. He's a Philly guy. Stevie Williams.
Antoine.
I think so.
Yeah, Antoine Dixon. Theodis Beasley, the list goes on, and the cool thing about that is like, I feel like in the sport, predominantly like, is not known for a sport of like African Americans, but that's why, like in the position that I've been given, just even the platform, the things I've been blessed with, it's so important for me to like, yes, like it's cool to win stuff, but like my overall goal, like when this is all said and done, is that like I just inspire like people, like more black skaters to come, because not a lot of people know about it. I've like talked to many people who have no idea what what the skateboarding is outside of like a Tony Hawk. You know, like you might see them like, yeah, I know Tony Hawk, you know what I mean?
Right.
And this is so it's important that we have more representation in skateboarding because I feel like, humbly, like we are a big piece of the culture aspect in skateboarding as far as like, like coming in with like, dressing and then like, and styles and skating and, like I said, fashion and all these things and even making that connection between like hip hop and skateboarding, everybody can, but I feel like that is what a unique thing that like, people of color, share in the space because, it predominantly like back in the day it was, but I feel like skating more so came from like rock, like people didn't look at skating back then and say, oh yeah, hip hop, like it, like the songs started getting used, like and stuff like that. And we had some staples, like even for example, like Lupe, Kick Push was like a big moment in skating because it was like somebody in hip hop made a song about skateboarding, Pharrell, with his way of being, in the culture and that blend with making ice cream and building a team with, with that and everybody part of that.
He signed a skater, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was, he had Terry Kennedy on there, Jacob Walder. Like, you had the Terry Kennedys, the Antoine Dixons. And I would say, when I was coming up, the people who I saw who was representing skateboarding at that level was Terry Kennedy, Antoine Dixon, and Theodis Beasley. Theodis Beasley, pro skateboarder, rides for Nike. Antoine Dixon was on like Super and stuff, but these dudes had like the pro shoes, their pro boards, and coming up and skating, like that was the only representation that I was aware of from my background getting into skateboarding. So like I aspired, you know, to be like them, you know, and to get to that level. And now it's like, you know, I always look at it as like, you know, it would be sick if like somebody, you know, and I'm not even saying it's me, but like, and maybe that's the next generation, whatever. But like, I feel like as African Americans in skating, we need a version of that. Like we need a Tony Hawk version of that.
Right.
Like, you know, to be a pillar and like, you know, do that. So when people talk about skating, it's like the Tony Hawks and it's whoever else that is that's like took it to that level and had the games or did whatever. Yeah. So that more people see it because it's so many eyes in the world, you know. It's like if I was to post a video tomorrow, I mean, today of me skating, it would live for a little bit. And then I could post that same video probably a week later. It's going to be more people who never even saw it the first time.
That's real.
Because the world is so big. So that's like the whole thing about awareness is like, how do you keep, you know, people always ask me like, what would you do if you like won this or won that? And I'm like, man, I just want to like have more platform for my voice to be heard so I can just like inspire more, you know? Like everything I do is for that. Like I'm not really.
Go back for 1 second because he brought up the Olympics. It's coming up. It's in the
LA.
US, right? Yeah. LA. What does the road to that look like for you?
The road to the Olympics, what that looks like for me is like, you know, they have their seasons, you know, and with ranking, all that stuff, the season I think officially starts like maybe next year with points and everything, or I think it starts this year. There's some contests coming up. There's a whole qualification process for that. So it's like, you know, the goal is to show up to these things and do, you know, as best you can. And I've always been really close, you know, from many times that I've been in the race with it, I've always been close, not far off. But I would say after the past, like the first time was new to everybody. That was like, everybody was heavy invested into it. Like, I mean, a lot of us changed our whole way of living to do that. And, you know, we were consumed by, you know.
You were part of the national team for 2020.
Part of the national team,
Paris,
yes, sir.
right?
And like, it was a different way of living. And I feel like a lot of us who, you know, because it's like two sides of skateboarding. And there's some people who do both really well, you know, like the Nijas and everybody. There's like core skating, which is like street video parts, like what skateboarding actually like originated from and is. Right. Contest came about and it was just honestly like it's another way of like making money. Like it wasn't like, you know, contest didn't really like determine anything. It was like what you did, you know, all out of contest too or both. And so now like for me kind of going through that the first time is like I would love to do it. Like, you know, I'm gonna try, you know, my hardest when the opportunities are there and stuff like that. But I'm not really like letting it consume me because of the other part of skateboarding is just as important and is special and it feels good, you know. These moments of competing, they're so short. And then I did find myself like kind of getting worked up and like too invested in that. And, you know, I was letting that kind of like spill over to like my other side of skating where I was like getting so bummed about it and, you know, not pouring into the other side. And then I remember, you know, I was on my way from Phoenix and a really good friend of mine was the first person who actually like sponsored me with Nike. He had became aware that I did music. And he was like, yo, like instead of like, you know, going on these contests and that's all people know about you, like he's like, you should introduce that and like that way you have more to you. Cause like those are just moments and like, you know, you can get podium, but if you don't win, it don't really matter. Like it's like, you know, second, third's cool, but like, you know, if on podium you still last if you get third. So it's like I after the couple years of watching this and each, you know, Olympic stuff has been, you know, it's happening. I've watched the effect of, you know, skating and this idea that people had painted in their mind of what this would do for some people and it wasn't really given that. Like the Olympics is really cool. You can get a lot of success from doing that, but it's like there's so many generations of like skaters that just keep going to where like you like in order in that space, it's a crazy thing to chase because the minute you lose, if everything you've earned is made up of that, and you lose that, and you start watching that slip out of your hands, it's kind of like a weird trap and hole to fall into if you're not on the other side of skateboarding. Because out of season, what are you doing the 4 years? Right. You know, when you're not competing, you're like trying to figure it out. And I've had a lot of people I know, you know, and watch people compete in that too. When that season's over, they're all like, they go into depression holes.
But do you think doing the Olympics and getting the gold medal would change the game for you, culture for skateboarding, for Black and brown people, who want to be and see that face. Because like we were talking about earlier, all we know is Tony Hawk.
Facts.
But you get somebody like you,
yes,
young black kid from Arizona, and you gold medal on the biggest stage in the world.
Factual.
What that would do for the culture of skateboarding. Does that ever cross your mind?
For sure. That's the main reason why I would want a gold medal.
Right.
Is to be a black skater who received the gold medal to show and inspire others. That's the only reason I want it. Like I'm not like money you could burn, like you'll get money, whatever, but like that's the only reason why even the first time when I qualified, why I was so bummed with not making it and being so close. It was like I just wanted to be a black skater that went there and represented for us there, you know?
You realize that winning this is actually bigger than you.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And like that's all I would tell myself was like, yo, I just want to get there. I don't even care if I win. Like I just want to go and just be there, and people just see a black skater skate in, you know, at the Olympics, and like just that be its impact. Cause it's like there's none.
Half a billion people watch the Olympics, bro.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's one of those things where
it's crazy.
So just to be seen on those cameras by anybody. So so with that, when you do make it, because you will, what country you think is the most competitive?
Japan.
Japan
is insane.
Yuto, right?
Yes. And that was like, it's crazy. Yuto, that's funny. Yuto being the one, Yuto's won both Olympics back to back, you know, he's back to back gold medalist. That, like, we're best friends. Like, we live together. Like, that's like literally one of my best friends. Like, when he moved in with us before the winning streak started, before he could even speak a lick of English, you know, we lived together. And seeing even now, fast forward, you know, how he's adjusting to everything. Because, like I said, that next generation, it is not, for anybody who competed for any country, it's not as easy as it was the first time around.
Right.
These, like, what he did, which amplified Japan, you know, Japanese, just even, I feel like, perspective on that skating man, is what he did is those accomplishments that he did, that birthed a whole nother, like, meaning in Japan with skateboarding competitively.
Probably
now,
breeded a whole new
it's
inspiration.
Because now all the kids are looking at him like, because his life drastic, like everything he did, he earned, you know, and the kids seeing that now, like, bro, we go to this contest, like now, like I could pull up stats from the last Olympic qualification and the whole podium is Japanese. Because
Really?
100%. They're all like what he did, like, you know, demonstrated is like they're all chasing that now.
What makes them so great is they're just technically really sound. Like what makes them, I mean, the whole podium is Japanese. Like why?
I feel like what makes them so, like what makes them stand out and they're just different is how invested they are with just like the craft. Like Japanese, like they don't play about anything. Like they're
sure
so
don't.
like to everything, to where, like, you know, he even
Discipline,
said, discipline. That's the main thing. Like he's even said, he's like, yo, like, the back home, they literally, like, they have skate school, like they literally skate for like 7 hours a day. Like, and he's like, yo, like, he's like, I maybe skate for like 2 hours here. Like, cause he's been in the US, you know, US, he's over here. He doesn't live like that, but he's like, bro, they literally, like, that's all they do. Like, they are literally training for this. That's all they do. And it shows when you go to these contests.
Yeah.
Like they're the only ones landing tricks every try. Their consistency rate is insane. Like, but I feel like,
so their technicality is like on point.
Everything.
Yeah.
It's like, and now they're starting, it's even young, even now with the women, women skateboarding.
Yeah.
They're
the young lady that you introduced me to, I think she's on the same skateboard
Raisa.
brand.
I think Raisa, yeah. It's her.
That's the Brazilian girl?
Brazilian, yeah. Her and Chloe. Chloe's from Australia. They're like the main two, like, you know, on top right now, winning contests.
I don't think I've seen the other girl, but Raisa is her name?
Yeah, Raisa.
Raisa. She's swaggy like DaShawn. Yeah. She got the swag to her.
Yeah. We're on the same board brand called April Skateboards, which is like founded and run by Shane O'Neill, who's also a former pro skater and pro for Nike.
Okay.
He's done a really like amazing job with it. The team he's been building, I'm blessed to be a part of it. I got on a little later, but
awesome.
Everybody on the team, it's like a team of, like, it's a crazy team. Is Yuto, you know, 2-time you know, crazy skateboarder. Raisa, like queen of skating.
Right.
And then you got the legends on there, like Guy Mariano, who is like one of the greatest skateboarders. Shane, who's one of the greatest skateboarders that ever lived. Like,
Wow.
you know, it's an amazing team, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
You.
Oh,
Right,
and me, you know,
Dream team type shit.
Yeah, and me, it's a blessing to be a part of it. So,
Yeah.
so much inspiration.
That's awesome.
Like being a part of that team, you know, and it pushes me a lot. You know what I mean? Like,
That's great. That's great. And that's what you need, especially in things like that. Like, I mean, yes, it's a competition, but it's nice to be amongst greatness because it'll only make you great and only push you. I'm a true believer in being around people that are smarter than me
facts.
and that are better than me in music and all of those things, because it's only gonna make me kick my own ass and at least keep up.
Factual.
May not ever excel over these guys, but at least keep up and earn their respect, which is hell important. We touched on musicians, artists that are into skating. In your opinion, who are people that you know that maybe rap or sing or whatever that are pretty decent skaters?
I would say Lil Wayne. You know, he's been invested in the culture for some time now. Who's good. Rich the Kid is a really good skateboarder who you know comes from skating. He's the one who's like alling down big sets and tray flipping down. Like he could really skate.
Wow.
Blast was a more recent one that like I found out he skated because he had like, you know, rest in peace to his friend. He had posted some old clips of I think him and his friend who they grew up together, and it was skate videos. They were skating. Wow. And then we tapped it on the gram, started chopping it up. We skated recently together.
Yeah.
Ty, you know, super interest for it. He tried to skate. Yeah, Ty Dolla sign. He like, you know, has tried to skate and rolls around a bit. DJ Drama, actually, that was a random one.
Drama?
Yeah, I found out he skated because he posted an old picture of him and Stevie Williams. And I remember DMing him. I didn't even think he was going to respond. I just DM'd him and I was like, yo, you used to skate? And he was like, yeah, you know, like back in the day, like, you know, I grew up with Stevie. Like, that's what I was like, what the heck? I was like, no way. And I remember being at a show with Ty. It was a Jack Harlow show. And I remember being with Ty and Drama was there. And I told Ty, I was like, you know, Drama skate. And he was like, he skate? And I was like, yeah. And he went up to him and said what's up to him. And then he brought it up to me. He was like, yo, you skate? He was like, yeah. Cause I told him, you know, like we had tapped it on the gram. Trying to think who else, man.
Can Pharrell skate? I've never seen him skate.
I've never seen him skate.
Who's that?
But I'm sure Pharrell. He can roll around and skate a little bit. I'm sure he can skate, but I've never seen him skate. Yeah, skate.
I know he's into it.
And I know Skateboard P.
I would think so, but I don't know. And Pharrell, maybe you can send us some clips or something.
No, just come on the show and clear the air.
Yeah, I've never seen him actually grind, like go in. Like,
yeah,
you know,
I've never seen it. You know,
I've
never seen it, but I know for sure, you know, in the space for many years, you know.
Anybody ask you that's in the music industry to kind of help you or help them with skating or the getting into it?
I would say I've skated with Ty Dolla Sign before and helped gave him a few pointers. Blast, he already knows how to skate. It was kind of more of a session.
Okay.
The most recent one, he's a rapper from the East Coast, from New York, Lil TJ. Okay. He just recently we skated together. I was like helping him out. He was like doing a stream thing, and you know I pulled up and skated with him. I've been on sessions with Wayne, but not really taught him anything. I've kind of just been in the background, like, oh, like try this, or like, you know, like, but not really have like you know, he's been doing it for a minute. He's like, you know, well educated in skating now. Yeah. But yeah, I honestly, if I'm on the session and help is wanted and needed, you know, and if I feel there's a space to do that amongst like their environment and their them being in the zone, I'll throw pointers out there. But I'm just here as a resource. Like anytime somebody needs something, or if I get hit up to go to a session with somebody, I'm there. And if service is needed, I'll help. But other than that, I'm just skating with these dudes and just having a session. But
it would be an ill video to have sessions and just film them Johns with guys like Ty Dolla Sign and put it out there and I guarantee you'll inspire other artists to want to do the same thing, because it is fun. It looks fun. I mean, there is a level of danger or whatever. Actually, you have to be careful, but for the most part, I envy being able to be as free as you guys are, especially when y'all do like that ramp and y'all like doing those 720. Like it's so it looks like you're flying. like that has to feel so amazing to be able to take that board and just go 15, 20 feet in the air. And like it has to be a certain type of feeling that you don't get anywhere else, right?
Yeah, that's what we chase in skateboarding. It's like
It's that rush.
that rush of like being scared and accomplishing something, or even like the resilience is like I said, like I've skated spots and I've tried tricks like for hours, like trying to figure out what I'm doing wrong. Every time you try something, you're trying to figure out what to do right to get closer to landing it. Like, and then once you do it, you chase that feeling in that process again. You know, it never gets old. Cause like I might go to another skate spot where I'm like, I'm kind of scared to skate this, but then you like try one and you're like, okay, that wasn't that bad. And you start trying it and you start getting comfortable. And then you get closer to land and you land it.
Wow.
So every time it's that process. So it's like when I'm skating with, artists or somebody and I'm like trying to like teach them or help them with certain things, it registers with me then how hard skateboarding is. But since I've been doing it for so long and it's like second nature to me, it always trips me out. Like when it's just something as simple as like I'm trying to teach them like, how to ride down the ramp or how to like have your body weight so like you can catch the momentum and of this ramp or down the stairs.
Yeah.
It's like mind boggling, but I have great patience for it. But then it also helps me register like skateboarding is actually like really hard.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the hardest things ever, like, and most dangerous. Like I would say outside that, like football is another dangerous one. But I think like every real life, every time I think skateboarding and other extreme sports, are some of the most dangerous things because
that's what they're called extreme sports.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
You gotta be a little crazy.
Yeah. Right. You do. But skating, just like football or just any really major sport, it could be soccer and all those other sports, like why we civilians admire you guys, because what you may not know, and maybe you do, but in real time as you're doing it, you inspire us because you guys are a metaphor for life. Like when you're going down a rail or something like that and you fall, you get up, you do it again, you fall again, you get up, you do it again. Like it's so metaphoric for how we as regular people have to look at life.
Factual.
But you guys are doing it in real time. And you're doing it over and over and over again, back to back, back to back, back to back. And just that grind and just that tenacity in itself is inspiring, because if you can apply that to your everyday life, like every day is not going to be perfect. You're not going to have a great day every day. You're going to mess up. You're going to, do some things that you wish you didn't do. You're going to fall, but you get back up again. Like you're living that. As a skateboarder, like you're not just a guy that just rides a platform with wheels on it. Like you represent something a lot greater, and I think that's what a lot of kids, even though they may not think of it that way, you're building that inside of them. You're building the ability to say, I'm going to do this, and I don't care how many times I fall. I don't care how many times I have to do this over and over until I get it right, and I'm going to get it right. It's building character.
Facts.
So
Factual.
That's the amazing part about what you do. It's deeper than the actual sport itself. Now, you touched on music a little bit. What inspired you, what to be a musician outside of being a great skateboarder?
I don't know.
Why music?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a feeling. I don't like, there wasn't anything that pinpoints what made me do it. It's just, I feel like this is how music has always made me feel. Like I've always even had an interest in music before skating,
Okay.
Like I would make music with my cousins, or, I was in the dance group. So like, I've just always been on that side of like, like entertainment and dancing and
now,
being
when you
an
say
artist.
dance group, like what type of dance was it? Was it hip hop? Was it break dancing? Was it like what type of
hip hop dancing?
Okay.
Yeah, and I was doing shows for that, and like
Okay.
I was like, like big shows, and it was fun, battles, everything, and music. Like I enjoyed it. Like I said, it was how it made me, I just loved how it made me feel. Like music is like I need music when I skate or when I go to the skate park now. You know, like I'll bring a big speaker. I bring my bump box, man. I'll be at
is it still working for you?
Yeah.
Because he be grinding on the rail of the bump box. For real.
Right.
So I'm like, this thing. He's gonna call me in a week from now. This thing ain't gonna fucking last.
Crazy.
I'll pull up to the park, Chevy Chase Skate Park, and I'll put the speaker on top of the quarter pipe, and I'll just blast music. And like I see what inspires me is one, how it makes me feel, but I watch how music makes people feel and what it does for people and what it's done for me. Like music is like, it's like I don't know how to explain it. It's a feeling that's like, you just like, if you know, you experience it, if you love music, like it makes me feel so good and free. And like, you know, before I was even getting into like writing music, I had that passion for it. And then I tapped into it, you know what I mean? And it's like I said, I was rapping. I was even booking my own little studio time when I lived in Phoenix, but I made a lot of songs, but I didn't send them to anybody. I just kept them to myself. And back then my homies were like, yo, you should drop it, you know? But even then I was like, I'm not ready. Like, you know, I want to drop it, you know? And then what got me even more motivated was I moved to LA. I met my really good, like, best friend, you know, my brother, Pat, who I met through my other really good friend, TJ Mizell and Jesse Mizell, which was a blessing, you know. Sorry to name drop, but like, you know, their pops,
it's all good.
Their pops was in Run DMC was Jam Master Jay.
Oh, dope.
So they the crazy thing about the connection with that, before I even knew any of that, is we met at X Games in I want to say Minnesota. I know Minneapolis X Games.
Okay,
that's where we met because they were DJing the event.
Oh, so
and
that's
then
super dope.
We met. Started having good conversations, you know what I mean? Became really good friends. They were still on the East Coast at the time. Yeah. Eventually moved to LA. You know, we continued, you know, friendship even to this day.
Yeah.
Those are my big brothers. I started sending them, you know, him music because, you know, at the time he was ASAP Ferg's DJ.
Okay.
And then, now he's Kid Leroy's DJ. But I was sending music to him and I was just getting constructive criticism along working with my bro Pat, who was also helping me get better. I was just sending it to him and I just wanted to be better. Like I wanted to get really good at making music, you know, because I loved doing it. So.
Oh, you got joints. Now, do you make the tracks too? Or like, do you make the actual beats or? No,
I don't make the beats. I get like beat packs from like producers and stuff.
Okay.
I have lately been like tapping into one to start producing a lot of beats. Now that I've like gotten deeper to like, you know, the craft and understand the music a little more. But I would just send it to him, get constructive criticism, which I love. Like I just love being better, especially if it's something I love and I just want to be good to where I can show the world. And I had like another conversation that was like one that I had was with Ferg. Actually, I was at TJ's house for like a dinner, and Ferg, you know, we're talking about skating, and he was like, "Yo, like, you know, what do you want to do? Like, how's your skating going? You know?" And I was like, "It's going good." And then he's like, "What's up with the music?" And I was like, "Oh, like, you know, I don't know." Like, he's like, "Nah, what do you want to do with it?" And I was like, oh, "I just make it, just send it to myself." And he's like, "You know, when we're on tour, like TJ be playing some of the stuff for on tour, like it's good, like." You know, there's no sense of you sitting on it, like drop it. Like you love it, it's an art, like put it out.
Right.
And I remember and I remember after having that conversation, it inspired me. And I was like, okay, I want to get even more better. And I want to start dropping music. And then, you know, fast forward, started dropping my first, you know, songs and everything. Yeah. To now where both of my worlds have, you know, have been coexisting together, and it's been a blessing. Through skating, I've been able to meet more artists. You know, that's kind of been like my gateway to artists. Skating, then the music stuff kind of comes after. You know, I don't really force the music on people. I'm just like, you know, I love making music. It's my passion. I drop music, you know. Yeah. I was scared in the beginning. I remember I made a whole separate Instagram, and it was called DaShawn Jordan Music. Oh, okay. And I didn't want to post on my main account.
Right. And just to test the waters
out. Just test it. And then once I like started, you know, getting better at it and started getting like good, you know, feedback from like the Ty Dolla Signs and everybody, I was like, why am I scared to like post about something I love that I'm passionate about? Like regardless if it makes me feel good, like I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna be forefront with it, you know? And
people get into passion.
Yeah.
Right? That's really what it is. Because you don't necessarily have to be the greatest singer, the greatest rapper, the greatest beat maker or whatever, but people do sense passion.
Facts.
And if you put your whole heart into music specifically, that vibration resonates. People will get into it. Like even if it might take them a second to kind of understand it. But if they see that you have a real love for it and you're not just trying to be on camera acting goofy, like people will get into it because that's something that you can't fake, even though people think that you can. Like, but you can't fake soul. And people understand that, and because you feel it, like you know when someone is really serious about something or when they just toying around and just kind of bullshitting because the songs come and go. Yeah, because music is a personal thing. I always say music's a tool.
Factual.
If you can't use it, then it's useless. So you have to keep that in mind, that it, even though you do it for you first and it has to touch you first, understanding once you release it, it also, its job is also to touch others.
Factual.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's the job of a song. Like it has to connect to other spirits in order for it to actually be something that people will get into and start to love. You know what I mean? So, it's one of those things where it's a rabbit hole that once you go down, like it's a deep rabbit hole, especially once you get into the production, once you get into the songwriting, and then you got friends and peers like Dolla and Logic too. I know that you did a joint with Logic. That once you get that bug, it is, we kind of talked about off camera. It's infectious. And it's great because artists, you have a great advantage because you already have an established profession of being a skateboarder. The music helps in promoting that and showing that side of you. And I've always said that artists have to always be more than just being a singer, than just being a rapper. Just like it, True. It's not. It doesn't make sense to create a platform to just do one thing.
Factual.
Like, in any aspect. Like, I believe that any functional human being should be able to do more than two things. Like, you should be able to show that I'm not just this, that I'm that. And it's good for you because it doesn't pigeonhole you.
Facts.
Into just being, oh, he's just a skateboarder. No. I get busy too. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I do this and I do that. And just like how you did skateboarding, patience is everything.
Factual.
Just like you said, the more that you do this, the more you'll get better at it, the more instinctive you'll become. Just like you said, when you practice a particular trick, you're learning how to do the trick as you go about making the mistakes, maybe not making a song that might not be that dope.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Or because I look back at some of the music that I've done in the past and stuff like that, I'm like, ugh. You know what I'm saying? But I had to get there. I had to get that out. You know what I mean? You have to experiment. You have to try to do, we're alchemists at the end of the day. And we have to create things. That's how we keep ourselves alive. You know what I'm saying? So, but again, congratulations. I love the music. There's one song in particular that I hope we're able to do later on, but we'll talk about that later. But anyway, all right. So with all of that, you're a skateboarder, you do music, you're also a businessman. You have a store, right?
Yes, sir.
Called Faces?
Yeah, Faces Skate Shop.
Okay, so tell us about that, man.
Faces Skate Shop was actually my one of my really good friends who's known me, since I was like a kid and living in Arizona, no sponsors. He actually used to give me a ride home from the skate park when I was the only kid with the lights turned off, no ride home. Andrew Nicholas. We've always talked about wanting to do something for Arizona skateboard, because it was what like birthed us and my skating career and everything. Sure. And he had came up with the idea, one day, and he called me and let me know, and he was like, "Yo, I want to make something to give back. Like I want to help empower the skateboard scene in Arizona, And he came with the idea of wanting to do a shop. And I was like, yo, that would be awesome. At first I was a little nervous, I didn't know what it intakes and me being a part of it and what I do. But he was like, nah, we're going to do this, I'm going to get everything straight, And let's do it and do something dope, And I was all in for it, because I'm a big advocate for giving back, community, youth, all that. So I was like, let's do it. Came with the name Faces Skate Shop, and that was originated because it was inspiration off of the people that we had lost, Yeah. Like our first t-shirt graphic was faces, but in each letter was the face of the person we've lost, It was dope. And then from there, the meaning was endless, but in general, what it was is like, many different faces, we all, we're all one, you know what I mean? Like, to empower and uplift, skateboarding or and everything else. And so, we've been open for about like 3 or 4 years now.
Dope.
And it's been dope. It's been a blessing, like,
congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yes. And and them, they do amazing. Like I'm obviously like out, and moving a bunch. Like they handle a lot of like the day to day, and they put a lot of work into like keep this thing going, So blessed for that. But it definitely feels good to go back home and have another home inside my home, where like we can also see like youth skaters coming in, we can sponsor people through the shop and do all these cool things that like maybe wasn't crazy, like too much of a resource to us when we were skating in Arizona, but now we're in a position to do that. So like all we do, we do events, free events, we do stuff where we're just giving, and so like it's been cool to like, have that foundation and like that, that thing in the community because we've seen just how much of an impact is done on our end for as far as we can see with people who come in who also want that type of home, who've maybe been skating in Arizona, who maybe never had that, It's other shops in AZ who've done a great job with doing that too. Cowtown Skate Shop's another one who, I was a part of that shop for a minute as a, skateboarder. They've forever have put the city on their back and done a great job. Then, we wanted to just be a part of that, contribution as well.
Yeah.
And, through what we can carry and handle, we try to do as much as we can. So
now, do you are you involved in the designs of the apparel? Because I saw some dope stuff on online.
On faces?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So they'll
like who are the faces that are on those T-shirts that I saw? Like there's a girl.
Which one was that one?
There's a young girl on there.
Sean has fallen a few times. His memory is shot.
Yeah.
How many concussions do you have, sir?
Oh, none.
None?
None.
Okay.
They make so many graphics. I think I know which graphic you're talking about.
He brought up his interview.
That
He said,
one?
I don't remember that.
Yeah, right.
That one, I think might have just been like just like a graphic that we did, just like a spinoff.
Okay.
But we've done stuff with like, my aunt, Sharon Jackson, who passed away. His, their mom who passed, like a couple of different things like that. But yeah, it's really whatever the inspiration is. Sometimes we have random stuff, but that's kind of like what has been the foundation is like we drew inspiration from that.
You sell boards there.
Yes, we sell boards. Yeah.
Do you fix them as well? Or,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we do everything there. We sell boards. We put them together for people.
Cool.
We have trucks, wheels, everything. It's a blessing. We carry my boards, and what we also did too is what Andrew made it a point to do was he carries a lot of the homies pro graphics. And he makes sure he carries, everybody, pretty much almost everybody who's pro from Arizona's boards in there as well. And people we grew up with, like my board, one of my best friend Caleb, who went pro for another board company, his boards are in there. Another one of a good friend of ours, Trey Wood from Arizona, we grew up, his pro board is in there, So we try to keep it like the shop infused with like a lot of friends and homies, obviously brands that are demand for, but even some of my childhood friends who aren't in skating, who are designers who want to draw T-shirts, and we've had them design shop collections and sold their shirts for them, and make sure they were taken care of for that.
Keeping it organic.
Yeah, just super organic. Like we didn't do it for it to become a crazy cash cow. We literally did it like and like not even gas. Like we literally did it just to have something that we could do dope stuff with for the city, and we're doing that, we
that's so
letting
dope.
homies do shirts and stuff, so it's been dope.
And I'm sure it's like a nice just hang for the kids, just to kind of like on a Saturday, their parents take them to the shop, they hang out, they get inspired, they buy a board, they buy a hoodie or whatever, or a Scully or something like that. I like your Scullies too. You can order online too, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Because it was a Faces Scully that I saw.
No, I got you. Let me know. Brian, let me know. We'll get a pack out for y'all for sure. We need the Faces.
I'll put this in a group text.
Yeah.
Tell him to send him a Scully if he gets on a skateboard and takes a video.
Yeah. We need the video lessons, and we gotta get in the studio, man, and I get you the pack.
All right. I tell you what. All right, and I'll say on record that if he sends me a little pack, Jesus, if he sends me a pack, I'll try skating again. That I haven't done in about 40 years.
Okay.
All right, y'all heard it.
Heard it first.
It's documented.
And I'm gonna send you the hospital bill once I break my hip.
Oyster Man got great insurance. Right.
Yeah, I guess.
Come on.
You guys are.
All right, okay.
Big thing.
Top 5, because we like these. We like top 5. We like rankings and stuff. And they don't have to be in this particular order. Just fire them out.
I think we hold them to order, Shawn.
You want to hold them in the order?
Yeah, because he's young. He doesn't mind pissing off his peers a little bit.
Okay, cool.
You know what I mean?
Little angst doesn't hurt anybody, right? So, okay. Top 5 skaters.
Of all time.
Of all time, in your mind. This is, and again,
Okay.
let me clarify, because on previous guests were really getting pissed off. The audience was getting pissed off from previous guests who were giving their top 5 because, hey, why didn't you name him? Why didn't you name her? That whole thing. It's their top 5. You can't be mad at somebody giving their top 5. And the truth is, they might not have thought of that person at the time. So you can't penalize a person for not mentioning someone that you like. It's their top 5. You're not in that chair. It's them.
Sorry, John. He didn't call you first.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, good grief. Like, give my guests a break. Like, it's their time. Okay. So with that being said, that disclaimer, your top 5 of all time.
In order.
He's in order.
Now, see, now he's adding pressure, but all right, cool.
Start at 5.
Start at 5.
Oh, man.
Oh, he's going to piss off somebody.
The order's crazy, man. The order's crazy, man. Because I don't even know. I haven't even graded them yet.
Okay, do it this way. Name the 5.
Okay.
And then put them in your category, your order at that time.
Okay.
Just fire them out first.
P-Rod, Eric Costin, Mark Johnson, Heath Kirchart, and who's my? I would say, who's that last one?
The 5th is always the hardest.
The 5th is always the hardest.
We
one.
say it because it's that moment you realize that there's a whole lot of people.
Yeah, you're gonna leave somebody out, right? Right.
So I got a little bit of everybody in that list.
And while he's doing that, everybody take note on who he picked. And for those, because I'm not familiar with some of these guys, but if you are, remember what he picked. And then as he puts him in the category.
Antoine Dixon. Sorry. Yep.
Antoine Dixon. Okay, cool. Now, he said it, right? So for those of you who know who these amazing skateboarders are, he's going to put them in his category. And you can argue down in the comments or if he had it right, okay? Yeah, let's have fun with this, okay? So,
can I guess your number 1 real quick?
Yeah.
P-Rod.
Yes. And the reason behind that is because amazing skateboarder, he was one of the first, I feel like, skateboarders I really, really feel like I like. Like, I went to him for advice. We talked since before I was even where I'm at in my career. He's been nothing but amazing person on off the skateboard, and he taught me so many valuable things in life, which as far as like the youth and all that. So that's played a huge part in just how I even think about my career and just like what I do it for. So
okay,
for
so
sure,
you can't.
Paul,
so audience, you can't argue with that.
yeah, number 1, Paul for sure.
Okay,
for
so
sure.
P-Rod. Okay, who's 2?
Number 2, I would say, Eric Costin for sure.
That's crazy. I could probably do your list.
Yeah, I would say Eric Costin.
Why is that?
Because style on a skateboard, amazing skateboarder. His career, amazing. You know, the things he's done, the shoes, you know, the collabs, you know, the Kobe's, and you know, he's like for sure one of those pillars of skateboarding. You know, like who's done a lot for skateboarding. You know, and was like at the beginning of when Nike even got into skateboarding. You know, SB. You know, it was him and Paul. You know, and many other and a couple other people. But yeah, that for sure. You know, icon in skateboarding.
Okay.
3, I would say Antoine Dixon.
Antoine Dixon.
For sure. And African American, you know, being an African American skateboarder, he was one of those ones who like
dig.
Antoine was big, you know, I mean, crazy selling shoe, like amazing skateboarder, really like one of the ones whose style unmatched. To this day, nobody ever like, and to this day, he's still a big, you know, part of skateboarding. Like you see him, I just saw him the other day actually in the zone where I live at, you know, and chilling, skating, still has it. Like, you know, he's on his health tip now in the gym, doing great things. Always inspired by him and what he's done for us to have a lane in skateboarding.
Dope.
Fourth,
shout out to Antoine Dixon.
Shout out to Antoine Dixon. Fourth, Mark Johnson.
Okay.
Also an amazing talented skateboarder, one of the most technical skateboarders, you know. Style, amazing style. And we also, you know, have had a friendship through, he had a board company I rode for, so he gave me the opportunity to go pro. He actually was the first person to turn me pro.
Okay.
Was on Mark Johnson's company, Business and Company.
So we got
that was the name
Mark
of it.
for that.
Yeah, so shout out to Mark Johnson.
And 5?
And then 5 would be Heath Kirchart.
Okay.
Same amazing skateboarder, great style. He was more on like the like super gnarlier like rails, like, you know, big rails in his style, making it look effortless, you know, in that sense as well. And also Saw, dude, I haven't really chopped it up much. Like, I'm not too close with him, but like seen him in passing, mutual friends. I've heard really good things about him. But, you know, and the first video I ever owned, skate video, was a video called Mind Filled. It was a company called Alien Workshop. And I loved his part because of the song. I loved the song he used, and it like made me just like, this is before I could even understand what the feeling I was getting from music was, but it is something about that song and the part. Like every time his part came on, like the tricks he had and his style, like it just made me feel a certain way. Like,
Go
you
look
know?
up that song.
Yeah. But yeah, I would say that's my order. I feel like I did a really good job with that order.
Oh yeah,
I don't think my peers in skating will hate me for that order.
Well, let's see if the folks in the comments agree. So and we'll think. And one other note, 2 things actually. I saw you do, like, I don't know the name of the trick, but you were riding a curve, like it was a whole curve.
Oh
like,
yeah.
Holy shit, man! Like he took the skateboard and just rolled the curve, and it was a big curve. And he look this gentleman up, guys. Like, he has an amazing collection of video clips that you will absolutely enjoy doing anything while eating your sandwich or whatever. Just take a look.
Be on
like
there for a while.
Yeah. No, it's pretty amazing. But you also mentioned, the sneaker lines that a lot of these skateboarders have. There was a rumor I heard that you were working with on a signature SB Dunk with Nike. Is that true?
Yes, that is true.
When's it coming out?
Comes out next year. Yeah, we already stapled
11.5.
the
Sean, what are
shoes.
you?
I'm 10 and a half.
So 10,
I got y'all. That's off the rip. Yeah, I got you. It's like,
that was one of the reasons why I was
making it
asking.
happen. The whole team, man.
We need 2 pairs each, so we need a dead
we need a dead stock. Right.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's another thing. Man, I'm super blessed.
I'm so happy for you, bro.
Super blessed
Yeah,
about
congratulations.
Happy
That's
for
big.
you,
Thank
man.
you
You
so
deserve
much.
it.
That's
Thank
big.
Well, I've
you.
been trying to get him signed to Jordan for a minute.
Yeah.
He know. I mean, he met with them and everything.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe you will. I mean, they invited you to the Jordan party and All Stars.
Right.
I saw him fall into a pool.
Shout out Cliff, man.
Yeah, Cliff King, my big bro. Love you, dog. Yeah.
No, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
those people,
Congratulations with
Thank
that.
you,
That's
man.
huge, man. Y'all make sure y'all support this brother, okay?
Yes.
I mean, he's an amazing guy, as you guys have noticed, and a talented skateboarder.
Thank you.
And look, he does a lot of great things, and he's wearing a lot of hats. So make sure you support and celebrate this brother, okay? But all right, I have one more top 5. I mean, it is a music show, so I have to ask you your top 5 albums of all time. Like, if you were on an island, right? And you had to pick 5 albums that you had to live with for the rest of your life, eating coconuts and having iguana as a friend.
And remind everybody at home, this is his top 5.
Again,
and
yes.
it's going to be really young because he's young.
Yes, it's his top 5, guys. Please allow him his space.
If he
all
doesn't
right?
say Stevie Wonder, don't get mad. He didn't
Right.
grow up on Stevie.
Right. Okay. So your top 5 albums of all time. If you're sitting on an island.
Yeah. Can I put my phone out just to make sure?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I want to get this right, man. I want to get this right because I'm gonna go through.
What are your top 5 albums, Sean? I don't think
My top 5?
We've gotten your top 5 artists. I don't think we've done your top 5 albums.
I would say, real quick, and this is like off the top, so please don't kill me.
Yeah.
Fulfilling this first finale, Stevie Wonder. So Much to Say, Take 6. Any Heartbreak. Illmatic.
I saw your Nas post the other day.
Yeah.
Nas is my dude. I love
Shout out
Nas.
to the homie Nas. Illmatic. And I always go left.
Fish.
Not Fish. I do love Fish. I like Fish. But it would have to be It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back. Public Enemy. And if I had to add a sixth one, it would be
They're going on tour, right? P's doing a tour right now.
Yeah, they are. And
Yeah,
I'm trying
I
to
saw
catch
that.
them if I can.
Yeah.
My sixth one would be Master of Puppets. Metallica.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I got.
Okay.
You still have a guest. He didn't go home.
Yeah, right. Top 5 albums. You're sitting on an island with just your skateboard and your new best friend iguana named Lenny. Your top 5 albums. Let's go.
Okay, I'm gonna just say him and then I'll
Yes.
go.
Go. Do your thing.
I'm gonna go. Charles Bradley, No Time for Dreaming. There's an album came out in 2011.
Okay.
I love that one. I actually used a song from there in a video part.
Okay.
So it has Heart of Gold.
Okay. Charles Bradley, No Time for Dreaming.
Yeah, Carter 3.
Carter 3.
Yeah, the classic.
Classic.
Classic Wayne Wayne there.
Yes, sir.
New Edition, the Heartbreak album.
Okay.
'Cause, If It Isn't Love,
He's
all
mixing
that.
it up. Little R&B,
I need a
little
little bit of
rap, little
everything.
rap. Okay,
I'm about to
I
be different
love
by
it.
every
He
day.
did say he grew up on New Edition.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's
he even
true.
referenced Telephone Man.
He did. He went way back on that one.
Way back.
Michael Jackson, Off the Wall.
Let's go.
You know,
Let's
a little
go.
rock with you in there.
Mhm.
And then I got one, Freddie Hubbard.
Freddie Hubbard.
So he's just like a jazz player, but
Okay.
this album was called First Light.
Okay.
But it's just all jazz.
Nice.
Like nothing. Just so I had to. I chose that because I
Okay.
have a little bit of both.
So
a little upbeat rap, a little old
Okay.
school, and a little jazz. If I just don't want, I want.
He
to hear
might
nobody.
survive on that island. That's a nice eclectic mix where
That's
he
a
won't
good
go
one.
too crazy.
Yeah.
He got a little bit of everything.
He got a little bit of
Yeah,
everything.
I had to.
What
That's-
era is Freddie Hubbard in? Is he-
Freddie Hubbard. That one
I'm
came
not
out in
familiar with
That one came out in 1971.
Okay.
He's an
Yeah.
older
I'm
artist.
gonna have to look him up. 'cause
Anniversary edition,
I
yeah.
love jazz.
It's the one. Yeah, that one. This one's so good. I put this on when I'm clean. Like it's just a good, just shuffle. No skip, just shuffle. It's just good.
And what's the
jazz.
album called?
First
Light?
Light. Yes, that one. It has like a trumpet on the
Yep,
cover.
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah.
You have a favorite jazz artist, Shawn?
Me?
Yeah.
George Duke, Miles Davis, Wes Montgomery.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are my 3 that I will listen to a lot. Like that's.
What do you love most about jazz? All the horns?
It's the complexities of it that allows you to. It's weird, but it allows you to think different. Jazz music makes you think different because the way they arrange the songs makes you go places that it's not your typical 1, 4, 5,
Mhm.
Major chord, minor chord, major chord. Like they're going somewhere else, and it basically stimulates your palate musically, creatively too. It challenges you to listen. It's like an art painting. Like when you listen to jazz, you're looking at a well done Renoir or
You have to dissect it.
yeah, you have to dissect it, and you have to, because there's always something
Little nugget.
different that, when you listen to Love Supreme, for example, like there's things that Coltrane did that you didn't hear the last time that you're listening to now. You go, yo, that was so genius that this fool did. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
Yeah.
there's always, it's like literally you're always catching things that you didn't catch before.
Love that.
That's why guys like Prince was so important, because his music compositions and stuff like that, you hear things that you weren't keyed on to, maybe because you weren't mature enough to get it. Like, so when you hear a lyric or when you hear a certain inflection musically, the guitar, the vocals, that whole thing, you have a whole different appreciation for it. And I think that's why jazz and certain hip hop artists, you hear certain lyrics that didn't really mean much to you until 5-7 years later, and you go, yo, shit.
Yeah, how many times
They
have you heard
drop
a
something
record that you've
crazy.
heard 100 times, and then you have like an aha moment. You hear the verse again, and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But that literally just happened to me today. It was a funny one. I was getting my beard lined up, and E40 was his tiny desk, and it was a funny ad-lib where was the song was actually you and that booty, right? Yeah. And then and the end he said, he was like, you know, booty big enough to put a cup on her booty, and I never caught it, but the ad-lib that he said was Guinness. And he was saying like Guinness World Record. Right. I thought it was so funny because I was like, I remember just like hearing the song, like, you know, but I was just listening different. It was, it was funny, it was random, but I was like, he's funny for doing that. And it's so him.
Yeah, right.
And it makes so much sense. So I was like, dang, I was like, now I'm like listening more to like lyrics and now, like, you know, making music, I listen to music different.
Yeah.
So that hits home with what you're saying.
It's true though. Like with hip hop and just going back to like jazz, like it's a vocabulary. Mm-hmm. So as you get older, it's like you understand the vocabulary more. Thus, it's widening your vocabulary. You understand how to communicate certain things now that you listen different.
Yeah. There's a few memes going around about you guys recently about some of the music you guys were singing and writing at a very young age, and how, you know, pouring your hearts out to these songs and really probably not even knowing how it really felt.
Not really. I mean, we were kind of old souls where you know we kind of connected to those songs. Yeah. Probably more than what people might have led on to think, because we were young, but we were empaths, so we felt those records. But as you get older, the life imitates art, so to speak, where those things actually apply.
Facts.
Is there a record that you guys have that really like changed from when you sang it initially till 30 years later, and you sing it now, it feels different?
All of them.
All of them.
Down to Motown Philly. Yeah. Like it's a different. It takes on a different meaning now because I was just in Philadelphia about a few weeks ago.
I saw you on your street.
Yeah. I went to my old neighborhood where I grew up, and I showed everybody on the live my actual house where I grew up. Like small, you know, little house that's in the right smack dab in the middle of the block.
You probably thought it was big when you were young.
It was huge when I was young.
Isn't that weird how when we're little, like the house is big and you go back and you're like,
I can't imagine.
We all lived here, Mom?
Yes. I can't imagine having 5 human beings in that small house. Yeah. But it was my mother and me and my siblings. And that's where we grew up. And
was Pops around? I'm going to ask you that because when we talked about it earlier.
Pops was around later.
Okay.
It's a long story. We'll get into that. But shout out to my dad. Shout out to Thurman Sanders. He stepped up to the plate, and he's the greatest dad ever. And I miss him, and I love him very, very much.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. So, but yeah. So the songs take on a different meaning because now that I'm older, and we recorded a lot of those songs in Philadelphia, and you'll drive by a lot of those places where I was listening to them as I was driving down certain neighborhoods and stuff like that. Like, it's a hint of nostalgia, but it makes you kind of fascinated about, wow, what was I thinking? Like, I was thinking that. And sometimes you laugh at those thoughts. Sometimes you shake your head at those thoughts like, dude, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like, you were dating this particular girl at the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so much that goes with music because it's literally a time capsule. The songs that you create now, you're not going to create them in 5 to 7 years, or at least you shouldn't, because you would have grown so much and experienced so many things in your life that the stuff that you listen to or that you play now, you look back and kind of gleefully laugh. Like, man, I was that guy. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what music does. It chronicles your maturity. It chronicles your growth as a human. Like, the things I wrote when I was 19 have been honed to such a maturity now at 52 that I couldn't write those songs again if I tried. Like, I'm not there anymore. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not my life.
What are you writing about now? 'Cause you're always writing, right? Even if you're not making the music fully and putting it out, you're always got your pen out and you're always, you know.
You know what's crazy? Like, yes, I still write love songs and stuff like that. I mean, that's natural, but I find myself writing more about introspective things. as it pertains to love. Like, it's not the girl, it's what the girl said and how
made you feel.
It made me feel, and how many things, how many thoughts and perspectives it opened up. So now it's deeper than just you and me and my girl arguing or having a tiff. It opened up a level of plaintiveness and sincerity and those types of things where now the conversation's deeper because now we're older. So we've experienced things now. So now we can get into real deep conversations about, and in turn, it makes the relationship stronger. It makes the bond stronger because now we're really dredging into the emotional effects of what a person says to you.
Right.
Now I'm more emotionally intelligent to articulate this. No, this is why this made me feel like this. And then you and that in most cases, your counterpart can't do nothing but sit and listen.
Before we get into some singing, because he's much younger than us, what are some of the hardest things you've found about love in 2025? Because we talking about 1992. Yeah. It's a long time ago.
Yeah. And considering that relationships, the rules of engagement are so different.
Militant.
Yeah, no, it's true. But it's so much different now. Cause I look back, I look at the kids now, like yourself, and respectfully, and I'm like, I don't know how you guys do it. Like it's such a like it's the levels of communication. It's how you guys communicate. Like, what does love look like in 2025?
Man, so I love this because like me, like even in my friend group, like I was always the one that was like in a relationship. Like I never I never really been interested in like trying to get a bunch of girls and like, I've just kind of just felt like, whatever, which is crazy, because, I grew up, single parent house with my mom, so I like Pop wasn't around, whatever. And a lot of my like knowledge was like, I feel like when I was younger, I wasn't really talking to my mom about a lot of things. Now I am more so, you know what I mean? And I value having that because, I grew up with women, my mom and them. So I feel like I really understand women. And so like now, when I was younger, I wasn't really like using that. Like I wasn't really like realizing how beneficial that was to me until I got older and went through things and, was with girlfriend. Maybe I wasn't the best boyfriend, this and that. So I kind of learned about like what it really takes. I was actually in a relationship for like, some time, 6 years. Got out of that. I was single for like 2 years. And even after that, because that was my most formative, like years of my life, I feel like, I got out of that and it wasn't like I was like, oh, she did this, she did that, or Mimi. It was like, I started to really practice that, like, it's never losses, it's always lessons. And I really understood about like, like I really took that time, the 2 years to understand like, okay, how to like love someone and like what it is and not having the ego and things and like learning how to be there for someone and not pointing the blame at them. And it changed my whole perspective. And now to, my current girlfriend who's like a little older than me, like 2 years older than me.
Got a sugar mama, bro.
Who's very like, who like, and not that any other girl wasn't that way. I'm not saying any of them other girlfriends weren't or nothing, but like now that I'm older and I can understand and receive information and like, not have an ego and like process it, like having somebody who's like, super loyal and like who's also teaching me that, like I feel like I was also like an older soul too. And I always wanted like, to break generational curse and like be that, my pops, wasn't really, he's married now, but like, all that. But I want a family and all that stuff. So like now being in this relationship, I'm like, I've learned, okay, like how to be a man, I feel like, and lead and do all these things. And for me, like, man, even now, like I got lucky. I feel like finding one in today's age, respect to everybody out there looking for love our girls, but like, it's crazy. Like, it's so insane. Like I'm around homies or I have some homies who are talking to a girl and like, I hear what this girl did to them or like this, how this dude thinks, it might be some of the homies or I talk to about certain things. I'm like, dang, that's crazy you think like that. Like, and I'm the homie now, but I'm the homie now who I'm like, yo, like, I mean, you did it. Big bro. Like, it's your fault, bro. Right. Like, you got to understand how she feel. Like, I'm that homie now. Yeah. And it feels good because I'm like, I've matured and I understand that. So loving for me now, like, I'm happy. Like I completely understand it. And you know, it, like I said, I feel like that's in my generation is like a lot of experience and stuff through like how people learn that. But some people, sometimes it never clicks with people. And some people might like be the outside type who I want a lot of girls. I want the freedom of messing with girls. But me, I'm like, like I kind of like the security of having like a good woman who like, you know, like who helps me feel secure. And I feel like that fuels me instead of like, sleep with the next girl, getting the wrong girl pregnant, you know, because I have homies who go through that. Yeah. And I don't want to, and respectfully, you know, I don't want to be, I just can't, I don't think I can tolerate that stress because I'm a good person. And like, I mean well in relationships and love, but like, yeah, it's scary because it's so much, it's so crazy out there. And social media, obviously with us now is different. That's obviously a crazy rate of meeting people, and because it's insane. Like it's scary. Yeah, to say the least, it is scary.
It's almost like anybody can be famous like you guys now because everybody has access to the world at their palms, right? Social media has every girl seeing you, every man seeing you, and you know, before you would essentially date and marry somebody you grew up with or somebody in your hometown. Now you dating somebody in Canada and New York,
and that's the beauty, I guess, of being in the professions that we're in. We're able to see the world in ways that the average person is not able to. But it also teaches you too. It helps you realize that the excesses of these businesses that we're in can really be self-destructive. And just like you said, it's I think we all have those types of friends that kind of go from chick to chick to chick and all this other stuff. And all it is just a level of maturity that they haven't grown yet and realized what those actions really constitute. So, and a lot of it has to do with their environment too, how they were brought up, how they were raised, what they were around, the whole 9 yards, and just themselves. So it's important to have gentlemen like yourself that shows the alternative and shows that
it's possible.
Being in a solid, stable relationship works, and it works for the betterment of yourself. And that's the biggest part of it. It's deeper than just the physical. It's spiritual and it's cerebral. And it allows you to actually grow and develop at your pace. Facts. That's the beauty of a good relationship. Now, do you guys communicate well? Like you?
Oh my God! It like I feel like I really do feel like I've matured so much with her. Like we communicate about a problem. She tells me I'm learning, and I'm not perfect, but like I'm learning how to like I said, receive the information when I'm wrong, like how to fix it.
And vice versa.
Yeah, and vice versa. And like
that's important.
Not defend it, but like if I'm telling you how I feel, like you receive it. You create a safe space for me, and I create a safe space for you. And
that's the important part.
Yeah, that's key.
It's a safe space, and I've told my girlfriend all the time. When we talk about anything, I'm like, babe, like you got to create safe space for me. Like if something happens, for me to fix it. Same for you. Like so you not feel like you're being judged or whatever. And even to kind of touch on the spiritual part, you said is deeper than physical. Is I like even learned that with my my newest girlfriend too, because she's very like she's like traditional Asian culture. So like, she's like very like, structured, like really don't, like, and so that even helped me understand, even my older brother who I met, through when I met my pops he's got deeper into that now too. And, has been on a good move. And I talk to him all the time, and he's one person too, who like has helped me practice that and understand that and even get deeper into that too, because it's so deep and it's like, that stuff's so real that it's like, it makes you just think, like, it makes you like really look back like, oh my God, like the concept of that and like, however way you want to go with life is so important because that stuff does like impact you. Even when it doesn't feel like it, like it's so important. Yeah. So like, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know how I got those traits.
Well, it's a learning curve and some of us mature a little bit quicker than others.
Facts.
And I think the biggest thing that we all, and what I've noticed, and it's just my opinion, what I've noticed in the status of relationships these days is that there's no patience.
Facts.
At all.
Like everybody wants what they want when they want it. Yeah. They already want a fixed man. They already want a put together girl. Well, guess what, folks? you may not ever get that.
Yeah, facts.
You may have to deal with the person that's in front of you. And if you look deep enough, the pros could actually outweigh the cons. And that person might be worth the building process.
Facts.
So instead of trying to find the guy who has it all together, which he probably doesn't, you're probably basing it off of face value or material stuff because he might have a lot of money or he might have a nice car, a nice house, does not mean that he has it all together. Same thing with you fellas. You see a girl that look fine and got a pretty face and all this other stuff and smiling in public, but probably crying her eyes out inside in private. Like, you have to weigh out exactly if you found in this person something that you connected to, where through hell and high water, you're willing to stick it out with that human being. That's what it's all about. It's not about perfection. It's the process of perfection.
Facts.
Because none of us are perfect. But together, we can go through that process of becoming the people that we want to be. And sometimes, as scriptures say, 2 is better than 1. So to be able to have that person that you can ride with, that you can make mistakes with, and that person doesn't make you feel bad about those mistakes, but will lift you up, pat you on the shoulder, get you checked, but still ride with you, that's a keeper. That's what relationships are about. It's not about Instagram pictures.
Facts.
It's about going through the hell and high water. It's about going through those tough times, those mistakes, those bad moments, and all that. So shout out to my lady. I love you.
So, and on that note, Preacher Shawn is in the building.
Yeah.
And on that note, one last question.
Okay.
What's your favorite restaurant?
Ooh.
Give me some.
Man.
Give me some.
I ain't gonna lie, I love
El
sushi.
Pollo Loco.
Nah, I love sushi.
Like sushi?
Me and my girl, we go to this place called Here Fishy Fishy. It's in K-Town, all you can eat sushi spot.
I gotta go to K-Town.
It is the
I
best.
heard it's the bomb.
It is the best sushi place.
Yeah, I heard K-Town's legit.
This sushi, you like sushi?
I do.
Yeah, this place, Here Fishy Fishy.
Okay, Here Fishy Fishy, you're sitting at the table, you're about to get it in with some sashimi or something. And you look at the entryway, and in walks the younger version of you. He's been looking for you. He needs some advice on what to expect in the future, just some sort of counsel, something to inspire him for the future. What would older DaShawn tell younger DaShawn?
I would tell him a couple of things. I would say, be undeniable, take nothing personal, and always bring value. Stay hungry and stay humble. And I have this. I have to say this quote because this is the quote that I would tell him. This is
saying this to you.
Yeah. This is my favorite. This is my favorite. This is my favorite thing right here. And you know what's crazy? The person who gave me this quote was actually my culinary teacher at my high school in Chandler, Mr. Orlando Cheney. We still talk to this day. He's from the Bay. Real. Okay. He was the first person who would listen, discipline, and all that, and follow instructions. Yeah. He sent me this after high school. But the quote goes, "Always remember, hate no one, no matter how much they have wronged you. Live humbly, no matter how wealthy you become. Think positively, no matter how hard life gets. Give much, even if you've been given little. Forgive all, especially yourself, and never stop believing that the best is yet to come." That's my favorite. I send that to anybody. I'm
gonna take that advice.
Yeah, I pass that quote around all the time. That's my favorite one.
And there it is. And then after that, the younger version of him and the older version of him, they break bread with sushi.
Yeah.
and on that note, folks, this has been a great episode. I learned a lot. And this is a blessing for me because, like I said, I didn't know much, I won't lie, about you and your journey. And this, I guess, was God's way of allowing me to learn more about you. And you're an amazing human being.
Appreciate you.
You really are. You have a great spirit. You're super duper talented. I enjoyed watching the videos. God bless you in the Olympics. You will make it. You will get a gold medal.
Thank you.
I'm going to see you up there, and please just don't forget us little people.
Facts.
Shout us out.
You know what I'm saying?
Sir.
Shout us out. And again, man, let's give it up one more time for DaShawn Jordan.
Thank you guys. Appreciate you. She want a real big spender, one who plays in her. Put up shots, call the shots. She want a real big spender, keep it real with her. Put up shots, call the shots. Proceed with caution, girl, don't slip. You ain't gotta tell him who it is. Keep it in private, girl, don't. You ain't gotta tell him all our business. Group chat on 10, ain't many. How you do it, what he do, how many minutes? Know your friends want to drop on attendance. I ain't shy, girl, tell them how I did you. She got the summer on like she got the summer. She got the summer on like she got the summer. Do a thing, ain't no doubt about it. Outside once again, outside again. I don't wanna lie, don't cheat and run again. When she leave, she don't want nobody tricking at the bar. When she leave, tell the valet bring the keys to the car. She want a real big spender, one who plays in her. Put up shots, call the shots. She want a real big spender, one who play, yeah. Put up shots, call the shots.
Hey.
I remember that one without no backing.
Yeah, there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, the next time y'all see DaShawn, he on stage and he's performing, make sure y'all request It's So Hard to Say Goodbye to Yesterday. Y'all just see him kill it. You know what I mean? It's all good. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up one more time for Mr. DaShawn.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all for having me. Thank y'all for having me, man. That was fun.
Hey y'all, and that was On That Note. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, here's a couple more videos for you to check out. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe.